Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smile Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Thandi, and today joining us is fashion designer, author, and course creator, Miriam Grunhaus. Welcome to the program, Miriam. How are you today?
Hi, Michael. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So tell us, where are you from?
I am from Florida in the United States, but I'm a native of Brazil.
Right. So how are things in Florida right now? I mean, you've got elections, you've got COVID, you've got winter coming up.
Yeah, winter doesn't really affect in Florida, but the elections and COVID is a double whammy. So
Yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah.
But it will be fine. We'll overcome somehow.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, COVID brings out a lot of politics. So, we with elections on top of that is just another beast of its own. So,
Exactly.
introduce yourself and your business to our audience.
Sure. So I am a fashion designer. The name of my company is Mika Fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And I design clothing for women. And we have a story behind what we design. We're not just a fashion brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I write a blog, and I'm an author and a course creator. So I'm a very busy lady.
So, I mean, when you talk about the fashion and there's a story behind it, can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Absolutely. So when I started designing fashion, that was not my career that I've had always. For 25 years, I was a graphic designer and marketer. Mm-hmm. My expertise was in ethics and compliance, and my clients were big pharmaceutical companies. Mm-hmm. And I used to teach the employees that ethics is good for business. Yeah. But what happened was that after 25 years of doing that and doing that really well, I went through adversity, and I decided that I wanted to do something different, something new, and something that I knew nothing about, because I wanted to be very busy, because I wanted to numb myself, numb my pain with work. Mm-hmm. So I became a fashion designer, and in the beginning, I was just designing clothing. I was whatever came to my mind, I designed it. I'm a creative person, and that's what I was doing. But after about 3 years, I wasn't really connecting with the fashion, and I really did a lot of introspection. I wanted to find out, why did I start doing fashion, even though I'm such a simple person? I'm not a fashionista. I'm older, that's not my world. Why did I go into fashion aside from wanting to be busy? Because I could have been busy in many ways. Yeah. And I realized that I wanted to connect with women, and I wanted to connect at a deeper level, and I wanted to share my story. And the story was a story of healing. In Japanese culture, they have an art called kintsugi. And this is a sample of the art. It's when ceramics break, they don't throw it out. They mend it with lacquer and gold, putting it together. And they highlight the breaks, right? They highlight the scars. Right. And as a philosophy, it is to show that we can be stronger and better and more valuable after healed. So when I learned about kintsugi, I decided to implement that philosophy, that art, into everything that I did with my clothing. So my fashion brand has the design of kintsugi, my tag, my videos, my art, my blog. Everything that I do, I'm telling the stories of women, and I'm sharing how they thrived after adversity.
Right. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I guess part of all that, like, you've gone from marketing into fashion, and you've explained that the transition and everything, but what has been, I guess, your learning from going from one thing to another and taking this big step? And, what has been some of the outcomes for you in all of this?
Yes. So the first thing that I want to share with people with your audience is I was before in the marketing side, right? I was marketing for other companies, and I have designed for big brands like Baccarat and Omega, Carrera and Carrera.
Oh, okay.
But when you're a designer, a marketing company, and you're designing for other people, a lot of the times you're following what they want you to do.
Mm.
And here was the time that I was the boss, right? I was the one that was going to set the tone of how I was going to market my brand.
Yeah.
And what I noticed, the difference between the first couple of years in my company and now, the level of success, the change was the story.
Mm.
And people buy from people that they love and trust, and that they connect on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
They can buy clothing anywhere. Why are they going to buy from me? I am not the best designer, but I created something that nobody can. I mean, people can always copy, but my story, my soul, my message, when I'm speaking to them and I'm telling them what this is all about, that nobody can replicate.
Yeah.
So I created something almost proprietary, and anybody who is going to connect with my story is going to connect with my product.
Yeah.
So the difference that really catapulted the growth exponentially was once I started opening up and connecting with my consumer in a very deep level.
Right. Yeah, and that's
so Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like what you said, you're connecting with the consumer, but your consumer's connecting back with you, and that's the ultimate synergy between a customer and a provider.
Exactly, and that I wanted to tell your listeners that is so important to introspect when you're going into business. It's so easy to fall into that. Quick marketing. You go online and people say, oh, I made millions like this and I made millions like that. And they just want to copy and replicate what successful people did. Yeah. But if the heart is not there, if the story is not there, what today everybody says authentic, right? If it's not really you, then they're not going to buy it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So tell us about your product range.
So my product range is clothing. And I started, when I changed careers, I started doing handbags. Mm. But I got into stores. I was moving product, but I realized right away that I was not going to be able to get the company to be as strong as I wanted it to be, because the difference between clothing and accessories is that accessories is a status symbol. Mm. So women wear handbags, they want a recognizable brand because it's a status. And for that, you would have to put a lot of money to grow the brand. Yeah. With clothing, it's different. The brand is not out there in the open. People want good quality. They want to know, depending on the clientele, but my clientele wanted good quality. They wanted manufacture ethically. They wanted to connect with me. They wanted the story. So I didn't have to build the brand per se. I just needed to connect and be visible to my consumer. Yeah. So I changed from handbag to clothing, and right now I really just do clothing for women, tops, dresses, skirts, pants, and that's all that we do. And I wanted to share something else, because your podcast is for business people. So I wanted to share how I grew so fast, as far as we're not a big company. We're still considered a small company. Mm. But within 2 years, once I implemented the story, we were in about 100 stores. And I started by focusing on a small niche. Because what happens is that when you start, if you're looking for the big places, the big stores, it's very hard to break in, and you're going to be spending so much time trying to just get that meeting, that meantime your product is sitting on the shelves.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started creating my first collection, had a lot of modest clothing, and I went after the stores that sell modest clothing, and they don't have so many brands to buy from. They have a smaller market to as far as vendors. So I was able to get into 40, 50 stores like that. And then I was able to expand my line and expand the type of stores. So I concentrated first on a niche. And then I started moving and growing from there. But once I had those relationships, their orders were covering my minimums.
Yeah.
You understand? So then you were able to grow from there. So it was very calculated.
Yeah, and also numbers speaks volume too. So you've got a bunch of stores, a bunch of relationships, and you go to the next one. It just comes so much easier just to walk in, say this is who we're with, sign them up. So you're in obviously more and more. So that's
exactly. And the other thing is that the people that try your products, they will give you feedback, and they're gonna tell you little things to improve. And I always ask. Always important to get feedback. Michael, I got a small, tiny feedback just for you to have an idea. The gold connector of my tag was opening up easily in the stores, but I didn't know, because when it came, the product was packaged. And one store was telling me, Miriam, your tags are falling because the safety in not such good quality. I immediately called my factory, upgraded. I want a better safety pin, And so once you're fixing in the early on, you're learning from your customers, you're accepting criticism, and you're making your product better.
Yeah. So, all right. So we spoke about relationship earlier and connecting with our clients and everything. So if we walked in, let's say if I was going in specifically to buy one of your products and there's something similar next to it, why would I choose yours over someone else's?
Okay, so there isn't anything similar because my prints are my own. I copyright them. I develop a process. I foil my products to reflect the kintsugi. So it's very unique. All the tags tells our stories. So it's very difficult for somebody to copy exactly what I'm doing. So that's one. The other thing is we are very careful with eco-friendly. I make my fabric. I don't buy fabric. I buy yarn in Italy. I make my fabric, which is super soft. People that have skin diseases and like fibromyalgia and eczema, they like my product because it's so smooth. And then I ship the fabric to Portugal where it gets manufactured, and it's a fair trade company. It's clean air. The people are treated well. I give a lot of value and importance to that. So those who care, they read about it in my tags, they read about it in my website, and they start to know what I stand for. Yep. So it's a combination of a lot of things.
Wow. So it's okay. So one, it's unique, and then it also goes through this unique process as well.
And
it has a story attached to it. So it gets more and more interesting as you get to learn about it.
Exactly. A lot of women share with me afterwards their own stories. I get messages via Instagram all the time of people telling me of surgeries they went through or losses or how they grieve. And they tell me that when they wear my clothing, they feel stronger. They feel that there is a way for them to heal and put their pieces together.
Wow, that's got to be an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Knowing that not only
Oh.
designing fashion, but you're helping change lives at the same time.
So this is the biggest part. So I started interviewing women who were thrivers, and I started sharing their stories in my blog. And I interviewed thrivers for 2 years.
Right.
And after 2 years, Michael, what I found was the most amazing thing. that it didn't matter the women's ethnicity, religion, height, weight, age, even the adversity didn't matter. The work that they did, the journey that they took to heal was the same. So what I ended up doing this year was that I wrote a book. It's called Heal with Gold.
Congratulations.
And in the book, thank you, just came out on Friday. So in the book, I share the 10 golden nuggets that I learned from these women that really, if you want to heal, you need to go through this process. And it's very similar to Kintsugi. So I connected to Kintsugi.
Yeah.
It's so it became a company that we're not just a fashion brand, you know, we really care about the women that we serve.
Yeah. It's like a whole story wrapped up into an outfit. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And a feeling,
exactly,
behind it all. So let's switch over to you've got your obviously with your fashion, you've got a number of different ways you're probably connecting with businesses there. Then you've got your book. How are some of the ways that you collaborate to grow your business?
So as far as collaboration to grow my business, I collaborate a lot with models and photographers, and we do shoots. They're not necessarily to sell the product, but it is to tell a story of mental health, mental illness, you know. We create those artistic opportunities, and then we all share together the material that we create to really promote acceptance and love. We don't necessarily use it to sell product, but just to emphasize the message. So that we do it as collaborations. Now, I have a group called Heal with Gold on Facebook, and I bring guest speakers every week, and it's free. And we just share. I bring authors, I bring resilient women that went through amazing stories, and they share the stories. And we really collaborate in this community. We have we just started this group about a month ago. We have already 600 and somewhat members in the group. It's all free. And we donate. We just donated 30 of our books to a nonprofit organization, which is going to distribute the book to women in need. But it's all related. You know, we do a lot of charity work.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So then, now you're in the States. You're in Tampa. So
I'm in Boca. I'm in Boca Raton.
Boca Raton. Okay. So is your product line international, or can you serve international people, or how does that all work?
We do. I have shipped to Australia. I have shipped to Switzerland, other France. So the shipping in the US is free. So the people from out of the country, they can't buy online, because what I do is that I estimate shipping and get their approval. If they say sure, then we proceed with the sale, because I first want them to know sometimes it's expensive. I always give them a discount to kind of compensate for part of the shipping. But it is an expense, but we do serve worldwide.
So then if anyone's watching and they want to see your product line and get in touch, how's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. So they can come to mikafashion.com, and Mika is MIKAH fashion.com. And they can also visit healwithgold.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, they're on the bottom of the screen so people can get those nice and clearly. Do you have any last words and message of inspiration for those who are watching?
Yes. Stay in your lane. Don't look at what other people are doing. If you are really, really focused in finding out what is your passion, what is your purpose, what is your mission on this planet. There is a philosophy in Japan called Ikigai. I'm not going to go into it, but you can all go and Google.
Sure.
It's Ikigai, Ikigai. Ikigai explains how you really find the reason for your being. And then we start working with what you're really supposed to be working in this planet as your mission. You will succeed because you're here to do just that. So don't compare yourselves with anybody else. Go do your thing and do for the right reasons, and you will succeed. Sooner or later, you will succeed.
Well said, Miriam. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on. Wish you all the best, and we'll be jumping on that site to see what's on there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Have a great day. Talk to you again. Well, what an inspiring story there by Miriam. Hope you got something out of that. Stay tuned for our next guest, which is going to really resonate with you parents and particularly single parents. So keep a lookout for that very soon. Until then, bye for now.